So you've been diagnosed with coronavirus, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and you're very nervous, and you've seen all those pictures of people dying all over the world, and I just want to reassure you that half of the population of our area is going to get coronavirus, probably more than half. So 1 in 2. So you're not, there are many people like you. 90% of the people who are positive to just have a bad cold lasts about 7 days. On the 7th day, you're going to feel better. And actually, the CDC says that on the 7th day, if you feel better, you can actually go to work. You can put a mask on and go to work as long as you don't expose other people. So keep everything into perspective. Now, that 10% group that ends up going to the hospital, the only reason you should even consider going to the hospital is if you're short of breath. It's the only reason. 10% end up in the hospital. Of that 10%, 1 to 3%, so 1 to 3% of the 10% end up needing to be intubated, end up needing ventilation. Now, of that group, the vast majority recover completely and go home. So this is by no means a death sentence. So just so you know, to give you some statistics, if you're age 10 to 19, you're more likely to die of guns, car crashes, or suicide, or cancer than coronavirus. If you're age 20 to 29, you're more likely to die of drug overdose, guns, car crashes, or suicide. So maybe be careful driving than be so worried about coronavirus. If you are age 30 to 39, you're more likely to die of drug overdoses, guns, and cancer, and car crashes than coronavirus. If you're 40 to 49, you're more likely to die of cancer, heart disease, drug overdoses than coronavirus. So the main thing that you have to remember, though, is that you are at risk as far as your family being able to get this disease. What we saw in Italy, what we saw in China was that the most of the transmission occurred between families, within family members. It was mother to son, brother to brother, sister to brother. So you need to protect the people that are in your house. What does that mean? That means you wear a mask, you find a separate room if you can, and definitely a separate bathroom, and you interact with your family only the minimum possible. You don't have sustained contact with them. You don't ask them to take your temperature. They should not be touching your mouth. That's where the disease exists, because they will touch your mouth and then they will put their hands in their face and they're going to get the virus. So if there's a vulnerable person living in your home, like an elderly person or someone with chronic conditions, they should probably find a separate living arrangement. You should, or at the very least, you should completely isolate them from you. They should have no contact with you. You're worried about kids. Kids don't get this. This disease doesn't like kids for some reason. So if your kid's under the age of 15, they're going to be fine. Don't worry about them. Worry about the elderly that are more likely to get affected. And you'll survive and you'll make it through this. Remember, don't go to the hospital unless you're short of breath. And hopefully you'll join us in our volunteer group to counsel other people with coronavirus to make sure that they get the same message. God bless.